Look at this guy. Right here. Yeah, him. Do you know who this is? If you don't know who this is, you've been missing out. This is Asterix the Gaul. First appearing in 1959 in a French magazine, Asterix was the work of writer René Goscinny and illustrator Albert Uderzo. What began as a serialized comic strip quickly grew into a cultural phenomenon, beloved not only in France but across Europe and eventually the entire world. For over 6 decades, Asterix has entertained audiences with his wit, courage, and indomitable spirit. His adventures have been translated into more than 100 languages and dialects, with over 380 million copies of his comics sold worldwide. This makes Asterix one of the most successful comic book series in history, rivaling even the likes of Batman. When people think of mascots in entertainment, names like Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Crash Bandicoot often dominate the conversation. These characters are celebrated as pioneers of gaming and of pop culture, but Asterix predates all of them by decades. Asterix was already a household name before Mario ever leapt onto a Goomba in 1981, before Sonic dashed through Green Hill Zone in 1991, and before Crash Bandicoot spun his way onto PlayStation in 1996. By the time these 3 mascots were born, Asterix had already been entertaining audiences for generations. His longevity is a testament to his enduring appeal, proving that he deserves recognition alongside, if not above, these mainstream icons. The heart of Asterix's appeal lies in his stories. Set in a small Gaulish village resisting Roman occupation, the comics blend historical satire with slapstick humor and clever wordplay. Asterix himself is small in stature, but he's mighty in spirit, relying on his intelligence and quick thinking rather than his brute force. His best friend Obelix provides the muscle, but it is Asterix's wit that often saves the day. The series is filled with recurring gags, cultural references, and parodies of contemporary society. Roman soldiers are constantly humiliated, famous historical figures are lampooned, and the villagers' antics mirror the quirks of everyday life. This combination of humor, history, and satire gave the comics a universal appeal that transcended age and nationality. Over the years, Asterix's adventures have been adapted into more than a dozen animated films, several live-action movies, and television specials. Each adaptation brought the characters to new audiences, ensuring that Asterix remained relevant across generations. His image has appeared on postage stamps, coins, and even on airplanes. Parc Asterix, a theme park near Paris, has attracted millions of visitors each year, further cementing his place as a cultural icon. As video games rose to prominence in the late 20th century, Asterix naturally made the leap into the digital world. His first video game appearances date back to the 1980s, with titles on systems like the Atari 2600, Amstrad CPC, and Sega Master System. These early games were simple, but captured the spirit of the comics. However, it was the 3D platformers that truly showcased his potential as a gaming mascot. Asterix and Obelix XXL released in 2003, and its sequel, Asterix and Obelix XXL 2, released in 2005, placed players directly into the vibrant, humorous world of the comics. These games combined action, puzzle solving, and comedy, staying true to the spirit of the original stories. Players could switch between both Asterix and Obelix, using their unique abilities to overcome challenges and obstacles. These games are filled with clever references and playful parodies of other video game franchises, and the games included a faithful recreation of the Gaulish world. For example, XXL2 included satirical nods to characters from Tomb Raider, Street Fighter, and Super Mario. This self-awareness made the game stand out, appealing not only to fans of the comics, but also to gamers familiar with the broader industry. While they may not have reached the same global recognition as Mario or Sonic, these games demonstrated that Asterix could thrive in the same genre that defined gaming's most iconic mascots. These XXL games were later remastered and re-released in the late 2010s, which shows that there is still demand for Asterix in the gaming world. What makes Asterix truly remarkable is his longevity. Asterix has been a consistent presence in media for over 60 years. To put that into perspective one more time, Asterix was already a well-established character prior to Mario first making his debut in Donkey Kong in 1981. Asterix has been entertaining audiences for over 3 decades before Sonic sped onto the Sega Genesis in 1991, and by the time Crash Bandicoot became the face of PlayStation in 1996, Asterix had already been a cultural icon for nearly 40 years. This timeline highlights just how far ahead of the curve Asterix truly was. While other mascots rose to fame through video games, Asterix had already conquered comics, animation, and merchandise. His ability to adapt to new forms of media without losing his core identity is what sets him apart from many of his contemporaries. Beyond entertainment, Asterix holds deep cultural significance. In France and in much of Europe, Asterix is more than just a comic character. He's a symbol of national pride, resilience, and cleverness in the face of overwhelming odds. The Gauls' refusal to surrender to the Romans mirrors the spirit of resistance and resonates strongly in European history. The comics often parody real-world politics, historical figures, and cultural stereotypes, making them both entertaining and thought-provoking. For example, the Romans are portrayed as pompous and overconfident, while the Gauls are resourceful and united. These dynamics have made Asterix a cultural ambassador, teaching lessons about identity, community, and perseverance. Asterix has also been used in education, with teachers employing the comics to introduce students to history, language, and satire. His adventures are not only fun, but also intellectually enriching, offering layers of meaning that reward both casual readers and scholars alike. Asterix the Gaul may not always be the first name mentioned in discussions of gaming history, but his legacy is undeniable. From his humble beginnings in a French comic strip to his adventures in animation, merchandise, and 3D platformers, Asterix has proven that true icons don't just survive the test of time, they thrive in it. Asterix is a character who has entertained millions, inspired generations, and has stood proudly as a symbol of cleverness, resilience, and humor. Asterix's influences have stretched far beyond the borders of France, making him one of the most enduring and important figures in global popular culture. In the end, Asterix isn't just a character. He's a reminder that even the smallest hero can leave the biggest impact, and that cultural icons can come from anywhere, even a tiny village in Gaul that refuses to surrender. A lot of the games and movies that were referenced in this video are pretty easily accessible, and I recommend everybody check them out because everybody could use a little bit of Asterix in their life.